He's crazy like Jack Bauer. His name is Forrest Power. Good morning or good evening, YouTube, and welcome to this, another commentary from your host with the most, Forrest Power. The first thing right off the bat I'd like to say, just a quick note about the gameplay. We are playing a bit of TDM on Jungle. I love Jungle because you can rack up some really nice scores on it. And I'm using my favourite setup of the Commando. My usual perk setup, which I'm sure you're familiar with by now. But the first thing I'd like to talk about in this commentary is congratulations to my friends in America who have finally managed to win the world's longest ever game of hide and seek. It's finally finished. Bin Laden has been displaced as the world's official hide and seek champion. His reign lasted for 9 years, and congratulations to America for finally solving this massive riddle that has sort of plagued the world for the last few years. But on a serious note now, seriously, I know that the events of September the 11th are a really serious issue, and it's nice to know that there's one less scumbag, going around the planet killing people now. So big shout out to all those in America who helped with that operation, because I think it's fantastic. But there's this sort of whole Bin Laden scenario over the last few days as it's developed has forced me to sort of look at American politics in a bit more detail. And for that reason I got linked to a video of Barack Obama at the American White House convention or something like that from like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it just struck me that the guy has got so much personality. Regardless of how you feel about him and his politics, he's got such an awe-inspiring personality. Watching him do this particular convention where he mocked Donald Trump, it was just like watching stand-up comedy. And I respect him for that, because I compare him to sort of British politicians. For those of you in America that are not familiar with British politicians, our Prime Minister is currently David Cameron, and he's got about as much personality as a infant baby with rabies. I don't know, but he's got no personality whatsoever, and so it's just refreshing to see politicians, regardless of how effective they are and regardless of whether you agree with their politics, who've got a bit of character. But yeah, this whole process has sort of led me to think about September the 11th and the sort of things that I was doing on that day. I remember the day really clearly. In fact, it's probably the one event of my lifetime that stands out more than most, because it was the first time that I'd actually experienced a sort of disaster of biblical proportions. History's sort of been littered with these massive events like Hiroshima, but I think September the 11th will be the one that lives on in my mind forever. I remember the day, actually. I was in college at the time, around 17, 18, and suddenly the news of the World Trade Center hit us on the TV screens, and we saw all these buildings blown up in America. And it was a really surreal sort of feeling, because we all walked outside to the bus stop, and even though we live in like a drag-end town in the north of England, we were all looking up at the sky and expecting, planes to start falling and, general mass hysteria to take over. But I think that's why, I sort of feel linked to this scenario, because even though I'm in another country, America and Britain have got some really close ties, they've got a good relationship, and, in that sense, they're like a sister country to us, and I feel sort of the pain that the Americans felt on that day, because it was a huge event for them, and it's a huge event for me. But yeah, over the last few days, like I say, it's nice to know that we've got some closure on the Bin Laden scenario. But I think the next thing to think about is that your conspiracy theorists are now going to think, oh well, he's not dead because not many people have seen this body. No, I think it was a good move, sort of on the Americans' part, to sort of play down this and say we buried him at sea so that his grave couldn't be turned into a shrine, because at the end of the day, you're going to get nutters who would travel thousands and thousands of miles to dance naked on his grave and sort of do a little rain dance in his honour. I don't know, but I just think if it is true and they have killed him and they've just got rid of him very, very quickly, then it's a smart move. But in reality, I think that they probably got his body locked up somewhere safe, and it'll probably rear its head in 10-15 years when he's sort of not in the public eye anymore. So I'd just like to give a big shout out to Team America as I finish off this commentary now, because that's what it feels like to me. You know, we've all watched the film. It feels like, you know, the Americans have jetted in on their planes and sort of bombed the fuck out of Bin Laden. So, on that related note, I'd like to say, Team America, fuck yeah! Well done, you've taken one for the world, fantastic. But yeah, as we all know, or we should know, that the new map pack for Call of Duty has just come out over the last few days. And like the geek that I am, I downloaded it on the first day. And I've already managed to rack up some pretty nice gameplays on it that I'm going to expose you to over the next couple of weeks. And I've got some other exciting things coming up on my channel, such as a couple more dual comms coming up and a lot more promotion. I've been working with quite a few channels quite secretly now, and a couple of things are going to come to light over the next few weeks, so it's just a case of staying tuned and bearing with me through these exciting times. I'm really pleased for all your support because it means the absolute world to me. You know, I treasure all my subscribers.